Hello everyone, welcome to this new part in the series. Today we're going to be setting up melee features for our character as well. So first things first, we're going to go to Package Manager, where I arguably have way too many assets, and we're going to type in melee. Not sure why it's so slow, apologies for that. Melee Game Creator 1, and we're going to import this. Which will take 2 seconds. Then inside of the module manager, we're going to turn on melee. Yes, let's go. Perfect. We're going to enable the examples as well, as it just helps us make some things a bit quicker. Keep it. Then next up, what we're going to do is we're going to be installing melee upgrade, and I'll put the link, the package in the description, so you can just install it directly. So we're not going to go through any manual process. Keep in mind that if you already have an existing project, this will overwrite all of the pre-made melee features. So it's something important to keep in mind. So this is really just if you haven't set it up yet. Now the reason I'm installing melee upgrade by default, while you might think we don't need that, simply because we're only going to have one weapon, it's because it allows for the following. So let me install character melee on the character, and as you can see, we can have sheeted hit reactions. And this is pretty much the main reason why melee upgrade is necessary for this project. If an enemy NPC or the player, the opposite, does a melee attack, we want the other to get that hit reaction by default, even if they're not in a melee state. By default it's not possible, and with melee upgrade it is. So yeah, really basic steps. Now what we want to do next is we want to see how we're going to set up these melee attacks. Do we want this to be a a knife action? Do we want to hit with the gun? Mainly this really depends on the animations you have available or are willing to purchase, to be completely honest, because they're just animations really. The action itself is just an animation, so it's up to you. Keep in mind that if you want to go for a knife attack, that does mean he will need to holster the gun he's holding, which is it can be a tiny bit more complex, because that does mean in first person this is something you can easily just hide away and it just happens instantly. In third person that might look really clunky. First person it's done constantly. In third person, yeah, it can just look a bit weird. So that means he'll need to let go of his gun or use his other hand, for example. But then what do you do when you have two-handed weapons? So let's have a look at what we can do for our project here. So I'll be using animations from these two packs, and I'm fully aware that that's a lot just for a couple of melee animations. I just happen to have these, so if you have any other animations, please use them instead. But yeah, these are fitting because they're made with having the guns in mind, or the gun types at least. And that's what we're gonna go for, is we're going to make sure that it works with both gun types. Now, if you are importing these packs, I would like to point out that it's best to get rid of literally everything except for the animations. Otherwise, you'll get some errors, as there's a lot of things for Playmaker in this. So yeah, if you are using the same ones, just make sure to only import animations itself. So now that we have the animations, let's have a look at which ones we'll be using here. So animations, pretty sure it's going to be under additionals. We've got tons of stuff here, by the way. They are really good animations. So we've got vaulting, things like that as well, climbing. Yeah, there's some really nice animations, even open door. which I think is really cool. You know, it's something easily forgotten. So yeah, there's obviously tons of good stuff in here. So let's have a look where we can find melee somewhere. Melee kick and melee hard. So yeah, those are pretty good. So we'll be using those. So as you can see with these, by the way, they have root motion baked in, and now that's something we don't want. We don't want root motion baked in. So what we do here is on motion we select none, and then what will happen is the following, and it takes a short bit of time, and there we go, we have them suddenly unlocked, which is perfect. So we have both of these. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find them, and let's hit apply, by the way. So I'm going to find them, and I'm going to take them out of the list, simply because, you know, there's it's a bit too much going on. There's way too many, so I'm just going to take them out for now. So Control D, duplicate, duplicates them, but also takes them out of that long list, just to make things easier. So we'll do the same with the pistol animations, pistol anim set pro, there we go, animations, and yeah, most likely they'll be in here under the same names. Yeah, so melee hard and melee kick seems pretty much the same. Cool. So yeah, same thing here. We need to make sure that root motion is out of the equation. Yes, root motion is still in the animation. However, it's no longer baked into it, which is, you know, what causes the issues for us. If it's baked in, we can't actually edit anything, and we need them like this. So we need them with these toggled on and not this. So this is perfect. So let's find them yet again in the list, melee hard and melee kick, and there we go. So let's create a folder for this. Let's call it melee. There we go. And to make things slightly easier, what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to be dragging this to that folder. That's part of the reason why I wanted them to be out. Just makes it easier. Cool. Then we'll create the melee clip. There we go. So we'll do pistol A, we'll do the hard one. This is going to be A. There we go. We can preview this as well on the player, so we have an idea what it looks like. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Now we need to make sure that this is the right active period, and it's pretty good. I'd say we need it to be a tiny bit here instead. Yeah, good enough. When it comes to the root motion, obviously we need to extract it. It doesn't hurt to have you know, the transition out, although this is a bit too much. Transition out is fine, 0.21. There we go. So this will blend nicely. The last part, yeah, we can lose a lot of that. So 0.25 is completely fine. Then other than that, I think we're pretty good here. I don't think we really need to do anything else for now, at least. then because we're using melee upgrades, we need to change the bones. I know we haven't set that up yet, we'll do that in a bit. So this is right hand, so that's the right hand that is active. There we go. Then we're going to duplicate this. We'll rename this to pistol B. Then we're going to drag in the kick. Not sure where we're going to use this yet. We still have it here. We need to move this quite a bit. And there we go. So yeah, I'll expand it a tiny bit. And there we go. 0.1, 0.25 is all fine. Obviously though, this needs to be right foot. Perfect. Then what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this one as well. And we'll call this, oh, not delete, apologies for that. We'll call this rifle C. There we go. I'm pretty sure that's also going to be right hand. I don't think much will change here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Let's make sure to extract that root motion in case I didn't do it here. Yeah, I didn't do it there either. There we go. Perfect. Let's duplicate this one again, and we'll call that rifle D. Now the last letter, the A, B, C, D, that's just going to dictate which melee inputs we'll be using at what time, by the way, just to make that clear. And I call them pistol and rifle just to make sure it's easy for me to differentiate and know which one is which. It's just that. And that's also terribly wrong. Yeah, let's move it a bit. Oh. Cool. And there we go. So we have our clips set up. Now let's create a weapon. And we'll just call it player. We have 4 clips. A, B, and C and D. Now in this case, these are not combos, so there's no comboing going on here. These are literally different instances. You could do that if you'd want that, you know, the melee jab is followed up by the kick. However, these are not created as combos, and it just, you know, won't look good. Now when it comes to the input, that's what we'll be using. So actually let's do it like this. I already changed my mind, apologies for that. So the kick, or the, no, let's do the bash actually. So the bash is when we're running forwards, or it should have been the kick, I don't know. You can make up your own mind. Change it to whatever it should be. And there we go. Now differentiating which input will be used is rather easy because we already created all of that with our variables. So we have weapon types. So when we go to our, let's go here. When we go to our variables here, we have weapon type 1 or 2, and that's simply going to dictate if we're doing melee input A or B. Really not that hard, and that's a nice thing. We've already set all of that up. Just remembered that this is the kick, right? Yeah. Need to set that to right foot as well. There we go. Perfect. There we have it. So next up we need 2 prefabs. We only really need 2. It's for the hand and the right foot, because those are the only limbs that are used. And we can do that here. Create empty. Melee right hand. There we go. Need to make sure this is all 0, 0, 0, 0. There we go. And then to this we need to add the blade component. Let's look it up. And there it is. Right hand, perfect. Don't need to do anything else. And this needs to be a sphere, simply because it's easier. We're not going to do a weapon trail. This is not some, even though we're using Synthi, it's not really meant to be cartoony. So no weapon trail that like will look odd. And that's it. Nothing else actually. That's pretty much it. We're going to duplicate this, and we're going to call this right foot. And we'll drag these in here. There we go. And right hand. And on right foot, obviously, which I already forgot real fast, is right foot. Then next up, because it is melee, we do need hit reactions, and that's part of the reason why we want to have that, even if he doesn't use any melee attacks. And that's going to be another melee clip, and we'll just create that from scratch. So melee, and I'm just going to do the one, which I think is fine. Hit reaction, we don't need a shield or anything like that, of course. And in hit reaction, we'll turn off his attack. Interruptible, vulnerable, that needs to be stagger. And yeah, it's pretty good. Then let's find a clip that suffices. Pretty sure there's some hits one in here. Let's see if there's one that, yeah, good enough. There we go. That's perfect. I'm already happy with that. So hit L1. That was L1, right? Yeah. Cool. We'll drag that to our melee folder as well. There we go. Melee. Hit reaction. Going to drag in hit L1. Affected bones is not required for this. If you want to look see how it looks, which makes a lot of sense, you don't have that control if you turn off his attack, just to preview it. Perfect. Cool. So I can definitely make this a bit longer. 0.5 is fine. And let's make this 0.1. And then turn off his attack again. There we go. And we're done. So I'm going to keep, oh no, of course not, needs extract root motion. I did that, okay. And then all we need to do is just drag in these clips. And I know that's a lot more work than it usually is, especially considering we're only using the one. Obviously, you have the liberty to add different reactions, etc. Given that melee is not a big part of this, you know, just having one hit reaction I think is more than enough. It's not going to be any knockback differences or poise, or again, this is not a melee. Let's make sure all of these are enabled as well, by the way. There we go. Perfect. And yeah, I'd say we're pretty good here. So we don't need anything else except for a character state. Now I'm just going to drag in a pistol locomotion default here. I'm aware that we have the other one as well, of course, for rifle. Don't mind about that for now. We're good. Don't need to worry about that. So we're done. So all set up. You know, please go ahead, add impacts, add well, I wouldn't do draw so much because we're not drawing anything here, but you can add impacts, reactions, and all of those things, sounds, etc. You know, please go ahead, do that. But yeah, that's up to you. So let's focus on actually setting up this for the player. So we're going to do a trigger, melee, and we need to decide what button to use. Now this is not a melee game, so I wouldn't go ahead and you know, do the default buttons. I really would use something else for this. So I'm just going to do, I don't know, V. It's a good placement for my hand. I don't think we're using that for anything. Let's double check. Oh, yes we are. Okay. Already using that. Let's do... Okay, then let's do X. Okay, we'll do X. So we need an on-start trigger. That's first and foremost. Draw weapon. There we go. We can do a small weight. There's no drawing animations here, but just in case. Let's drag that up. Then we'll need another trigger for key down. And that's yeah, X. Not sure if that's the best button, but it's fine. And then we need some conditions. So these conditions are going to be based on our bool, the string, sorry. Weapon type 1, input A, and then the opposite. That's literally it. B for weapon type 2. Cool. Now let's try this. First, let's actually see if this works on the player. If it works on the player, then we can make sure the enemy can actually receive the input as well. There we go. So I'm going to press X, and that works. I'm going to run. Okay. I do notice that it's just a 1. Why is the other none? Oh, of course. My apologies. My apologies. So I completely forgot that in the combo creator there's a sort order as well. That's my bad. I should have thought of that. So this needs to be up first, because this basically is the condition. So it will run the first condition, so hence it not working. Let's do that again. There we go. Run. In hindsight, I think it would have been better to do it the other way around, actually, to have him do the other attack. So I'm gonna turn it around just to see what this looks like, because for the kick he's actually, you know, doing a complete standstill. I could see the first one being used on a run, so maybe we'll switch it around. Let's have a look. Yeah, I prefer that. Yeah, I think that's nicer. Cool. Oh yeah, let's have a look. I'll need to turn them around, of course, for the two-handed weapon as well. Then, but let's just see if it works. Oh. Yeah, those are the correct animations. Cool. Yeah, perfect. Sorry I was looking at that for so long. I was just trying to figure out if it was playing the right one at the right time. So yeah, let's turn that around as well then. And we're good. So that was rather easy, and that's simply because we already have so much set up that a lot of these things just don't require a lot of effort anymore. So that's pretty good. Now on the characters, and let's try to find the first. I'm only going to do the first one for the video because obviously there's no difference. So we're going to do character melee, and there we go. Even if they don't use melee, we do want to have them to have the hit reactions. So we're just going to do player here. Yeah, that's all fine. Save, and let's just see if it works. That's it. Now, what if we aim, by the way, and we press these buttons? Still works, and I do think actually the kick fits much nicer here. Yeah, cool. Okay, and then we kill him off. Fine. Awesome. We do need something to happen, of course, on that hit reaction. As you can see, you know, if he gets shot, it does something to his behavior. We would like the same to happen, of course, on getting hit as well. So let's make sure to set that up. So behaviors, and we have impact, and then these actions, they are running assigned shot for 2 seconds. Now, what did it actually do again on the enemy, just to be sure I'm not messing anything up? Okay, so yeah, sorry for looking at that a bit too long. So that's basically what it's doing for shot. Now the first time we are actually assigning on impact, we are assigning spotted straight away, and that's kind of what we want to happen here. So we don't want shot to happen, we want spotted to happen. So we'll do that as well. So we can just create a new condition here. Condition melee and we want that. Now when it comes to the actual damage and blood, I don't think blood makes a lot of sense. Not really sure why he'd bleed from a kick, even though the gun bash most likely would do it. And then when it comes to you know, the damage we're doing, that's up to you. I mean, I think it deserves to be double for a kick. If you can actually manage to get up close, yeah, double is fine. And you know, that's pretty much it. We do need to make sure that we have the same condition here. So health. And then we obviously need to make sure that something actually happens. So we need a trigger, and this needs to be on the character. Melee, on, no, not on attack, on receive attack. And then we're going to drag in our conditions. We don't need to store the attacker. You know, we're all good there. And then, yeah, we just need that to happen, and let's make sure it does. So I'm going to play, and while I'm playing, I'm going to collapse all of this. And we're just going to be checking his health. We want to make sure, of course, that this does what it's supposed to do. Okay, now as you can see, while that is happening, he was already aiming, shooting, and everything, which shouldn't happen. You know, realistically, he needs to be staggered a bit longer. So let's do that. Now, one of the ways to do this would simply, you know, we could simply have a wait here in our behavior. Where is it? Here, and have spotted wait for the duration of the hit animation, and we'd be done. Now, that's not going to solve anything when we're doing it in combat. So what we need to do is let's create a new variable here. There we go. Let's call it melee hit. This is going to be a bool. And we're going to go to his behavior. There we go. And then inside of the behavior, we're going to make sure this supersedes everything else. There we go. Pretty sure I can copy this over from something. Perfect. Melee hit. And we're going to wait. Let's do 1.2 seconds. The hit animation is about 1.5, but there's a lot of blending out. And then we're going to toggle that same bool again after that time. Melee hit, and then we'll turn it off. So this will supersede anything else except for, of course, death, because that should always take priority, but it only does if this is turned on. So then we need to make sure that when we hit him, that melee hit is turned on. And there we go. So let's give that a try. Let's see if that works. Going to drag the enemy closer to us as well. About here. Perfect. And yeah, let's see if this works. Let's see if it does what it's supposed to do. Theoretically, you could get in close enough to keep hitting him, and that's fine. Why not? It's really slow. It's not the smartest thing to do, but you could do it, and there's nothing wrong with that. There we go. So, okay, he's running back to his spot, and I'm going to hit him again. And yeah, as you can see, he waits with his actions until until the time is over, and that's perfect. Cool. So that's pretty much it. So as you can see, it was rather simple to add add this, and that's simply because we set it up to we already set up this game to recognize all of these all of these separate functions of having one-handed or two-handed weapons, and that makes it really easy to set up melee to function like that as well. When it comes to the behavior, it's really simple as well. It's a small thing, but it does supersede everything else, and then the behavior simply continues because it gets turned off again. So yeah, pretty simple to set up at this stage of the project. So thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.